What's up, my spicy little peppercorns? This is Rob from the Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we're back with another installment of Rob reads you shit that you probably don't want to read yourself. But no, it does not stop at reading today. It's also going to include researching and replaying, mainly because I couldn't find another R word that went along with play testing, because we have a whole bunch of augments to take a look at. This is the augment tweaks update 25.6.0 that we talked about in a previous video. But what I actually wanted to go ahead and do is pull the stats from the augments themselves, because some of them are kind of mentioned nebulously in the text, and I actually wanted to go ahead and give you the information. Then there are also two augments that I actually wanted to go ahead and test out to see exactly how they work, because again, the descriptions of them were not 100% accurate, and then the mods in-game didn't actually give the numerical stats either, so we're gonna dig into this one. But as you can see, Rebecca posted about an hour ago, Augment Tweaks Update 25.6.0. Additions. Themed loadout screens are here. The Arsenal screen has been completely redone to give you as much information about each loadout as possible on a single screen, while also providing new features like custom icons using any glyph you own. We've gone from a single list with information only on hover to a complete presentation of all of your loadouts with the ability to favorite and more. Now, here's the thing. I never use loadouts. It's just not something that I'm all that interested in, but I might actually give it a shot specifically for this. However, let me know in the comments below if you guys are like loadout fanatics, because I know that there are some of you guys that get really creative with the namings of yours. Very inappropriate, I'm just saying. However, if it works for you, it works for you. Me personally, we'll have to experiment. Now, we have augment changes and fixes. Added numerous Warframe ability augment stats to the ability screen. This one is big because you can see how these ones are actually affected by the mods that you put in to your actual build. So you can see how all of that plays out, and you get a little bit more information, which is nice. We debuted this with Wukong's rework, and now you'll be able to directly see the stat changes associated with the augments on the abilities. Rework the following augments. If you checked out the Link Dev Workshop, you'll know a bit of the method behind these small tweaks. We're pushing a bunch of augments into a stronger direction. Please be aware that this isn't reflective of the entire thought process behind augments overall, i.e. some lesser ones haven't been buffed. While many responses to this have been simply to add an augment slot, that's a way bigger conversation and choice beyond the micro changes here. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do was make sure to get you guys the stats on these, so if I look this way and it looks really weird, that's because that's what my list is, okay? So let's go ahead and jump on in. Hysterical Assault, Hysteria Augment Valkyrie. Let invulnerability linger for half a second when aiming to prevent getting downed immediately in high damage areas, and then increase the range. I tried this out, and when they said half a second, oh, they weren't fucking with you when they said half a second, because it's really like half a second. I was like, So we'll take a look at that in-game. We have Rising Storm, Blade Storm, Augment Ash. Attacks by clones will raise the combo counter. Include a passive benefit to extend the combo counter by a duration. Now, I actually went ahead and looked at this in-game, and it says that increases the melee combo by 4. So I'm not 100% sure if each of the clones, every single time they attack, it'll increase it by 4, but they did say in-game by 4, and it also increases the combo duration by 10 seconds, which, to be honest with you, is kind of nice, because there are certain mods that you use in your melee builds that you might actually be able to kick out now if you're not a big combo duration person, if you don't need the status on that, because you are running Ash and he's going to be able to apply those flash procs. So that might be handy in more than one way to free up a melee slot for you guys. Then we have Titanic Rumbler. Rumblers augment for Atlas. Increase to damage and speed. Retriggering the power will activate the taunt as well as cause a knockdown effect. Now, this one's actually got a 300% damage boost to it, and it's got the AoE slam sitting at 15 meters. So that's actually a pretty good range, and I'm assuming that it's going to be affected by range mods as well. So that'll actually be even nicer if you need a little bit of CC. Moving on, we have Hallowed Eruption, Hallowed Ground Augment by Oberon. Additional passive ability adds 100% to Hallowed Ground duration, always applies radiation status on detonation. There wasn't anything to look up that in game, but here's the thing. I've never been interested in this mod, not even a little bit. I don't know if any of you guys use this mod at all either. Just let me know what exactly you guys use it for, because I'm looking at it like that's not something I would ever touch. Furious Javelin, Radial Javelin Augment for Excalibur. Now this one actually increases the damage by 10% for your melee attacks for every enemy that you hit for 16 seconds. Now originally it was only 5% for 12 seconds. So we got a nice 4-second boost. Well, I guess you can't call it a nice 4-second boost, but we got a 4-second boost, and we also doubled the damage that you're going to be adding to your melee. So that's actually a pretty good buff, and I have a feeling that this is affected by power strength, but you know, we'll be able to see all of that actually in game. Now, moving on, we have Tidal Impunity, which is Tidal Surge from Hydroid, increases the duration of the immunity buff. Now, the original buff duration was only 6 seconds, which was like, why do we even want to use that? It's been up to 12 seconds, which a part of me is still like, oh, why? I'm not sure, but it's doubling the duration. So if you guys had used Tidal Impunity before, that's a thing that you can have. Magnetized Discharge. This one is the Magnetized Augment by Mag. Includes a passive benefit that increases the power range for this ability only. And the passive range is an additional 45% range. So that's a whole nother stretch mod added in there, just in case you guys were into it. The only thing that I do have to say that kind of worries me about this is because of the fact that you're increasing the size of the magnetized bubble. Is if you are running around in areas where you have nullifiers, that means that if your bubble really big and that nullifier even comes remotely close, then that means it's gonna pop the bubble. So that's a little bit of an issue. We have Muzzle Flash. Now this one I actually did want to go ahead and test out in-game, which is the Shooting Gallery Augment for Mesa. For kills made by a player, self or ally. Oh, never mind, I don't have to test it now. With Shooting Gallery activated, generate a blinding AoE when a threshold is met. And for those of you guys wondering, the threshold is 6 assists, and it will blind enemies on her next shot in 12 meters for 6 seconds. So you've got a decent range on it. I'm not going to say it's fantastic, and to be honest with you, I don't really run too much range on Mesa, because you don't really need it, but that's a kind of like cool thing. Like every 6 enemies that gets killed, you can blind. And I mean, if your team is on a pretty big, you know, if they're on a rampage, that means that basically you're going to be able to blind a lot. And basically Mesa is just going to be a big old flashing disco ball, which is kind of fun. We have Explosive Legerdemain. Now this one I'm really excited about, and let me know if you want to see my build on this, because nobody uses this build on, well, at least I don't see anybody standing this, but I love using this on duration missions, like not extended duration missions, but like escalating missions, you know what I mean? If you want to go in for like a nice little 20 rounds, it's a fun thing to do with Mirage. Increase the damage and the status chance when triggered. Now, the damage used to be 250 blast and only had a 60% to proc the status. And when the status is different for each type of ammo or orb or whatever is lingering out there on the field. But now it's going to be 500 damage and 100% status. Love the 100% status thing, mainly because of the fact that I use the explosions, like all of the little ammo pickups and things that get converted, as CC. So a lot of the times it'll stun enemies with electricity, or it'll set them on fire, so that'll like stagger them, or they'll be slowed by ice. So for me, I'm like, okay, this is great, because now we have Mirage running around here like CCing a whole bunch of enemies depending on like what's been left on the ground. So I really like the boost to that one. That makes me happy. We have Piercing Roar. This is a Roar augment for Rhino. Allow Roar to be recast when equipped. Increase debuff duration based on equipped mods, and then generate a stagger effect on enemies when the Roar hits. There's really not much to say about this. Aside from, I guess it's really interesting. I've never used the Piercing Roar before, or I never really felt the need to use Piercing Roar before, just because of the fact that it's really just an enemy debuff, and if you're using Stomp, you kind of just CC them anyway. So I don't know. We'll see. Let me know if you guys like using it. Contagion Cloud. This one got me really excited. Wait, did we miss? Oh, I missed Total Eclipse. I'm such a hooker. Total Eclipse. Increase range on the buff to other players. It went from 5 meters. Literally, you had to be standing on top of Mirage to 15 meters, which is not half bad. That's not half bad at all. So, you know, rejoice for everybody who loves a little bit of damage or power strength or whatever it is. I'm so bad. Moving on, we have, you can tell that I just did not care about Total Eclipse. Moving on, Contagion Cloud. Allow buff to activate when enemy is killed by damage over time effects. General increase on range and damage. So, Contagion Cloud. It was a 2-meter cloud. Oh my god, with 150 toxin per second. And that was kind of garbage. That lasted for 12 seconds. It's now a 5-meter cloud, which I'm very happy about, with 300 toxin per second for 12 seconds. It's not as bad, and I kind of almost want to try it out because I feel like it might be something we can use now. I'm not 100% sure, but I did kind of sort of enjoy it when I was using it. We had Transistor Shield, so Electric Shield Augment Volt. No additional energy drain when shield is picked up by another player, which is nice. And then they increased the damage conversion. I believe the original conversion was 100% of their damage. Now it's 300%. So they've got a nice little damage conversion boost there. Next up, we have Target Fixation, which is a Tailwind Augment for Zephyr. God, it's still bad. Remove buff after 2 seconds of being on the ground instead of immediately. And then they increase the damage per target hit. Thing about it is it went from 50% damage to 100% damage. How many enemies were you gonna hit to begin with, really, with this? I'm just saying, this was not... You weren't using this as your main source of damage, so to increase the damage of an ability that you didn't really use for damage kind of mind boggles me, you know what I'm saying? But that's what DE decided to do. Now, this one I actually wanted to test because I've never seen, we've never seen this before, but basically Fireball, Frenzy, Freeze Force, Smite Infusion, Venom Dose, and Shock Trooper, holding the casting button will send out a wave, much like similar expanding Warframe abilities, giving the elemental buff to every player it touches, including the caster. I want to see exactly how this actually ends up working out. Sonic Fracture, Sonic Boom Augment, Banshee. Armor reduction is applied even if Ragdoll fails. Here's the thing, I feel like that's more of a bug fix than anything. Like, that should have happened no matter what. If an enemy got hit by Sonic Fracture, the armor should have been reduced. Now we have Smoke Shadow, increased smoke screen augment, Ash increased range. So they actually increased the range from 5 meters up to 15 meters, which is very, very nice. Then they did... I wonder what their mental process was that you had to be within 5 meters of Total Eclipse and Smoke Shadow. Like, is that really a good idea? Anyway, Piercing Navigator, Navigator Augment added a 3-meter punch through to the projectile. So that's always fantastic. Alright, I think that is pretty much it. Let's go ahead and jump into game right now. So that we can go ahead and take a look at some of these things, specifically the Valkyr Hysteria. So let's go ahead and turn Hysteria on, and I want you to pay attention to that top corner, right? You see that top corner where Invincibility's on? Did you see how short that was? Okay. Ready? That was really short. That was, you could have given us a full second, DE. Like, was it that bad? Like, they gave us a half a second. They're like, you gotta make up your mind quick, boo. You gotta make up your mind quick. And I'm like, jeez. Sometimes you're aiming, I can't even, why am I typing Spore? Sarin, that's what I'm trying to type. But yeah, that is very, very fast. Couldn't you give us a full second? All right, now this is the Spore Augment. I'm really curious to see how this goes. Wait, what? What? Do I have this on? Did I put, oh, I probably just leveled it up and I probably didn't actually put it on. Which would be a typical thing for me. So let's go ahead and do this one real quick. And let's just... Oh, God. Oh, my build is so tight. My build is so tight. Let's do that. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. That was actually very, very quick. That was actually very, very quick. But as you can see, we've got 99% corrosive damage there, which is very, very handy. Let's do that again. It's like a nice little wave. That's a nice little animation. I like it. I like the little flash. All right, I was actually thinking that it was going to be a lot slower than that, like it was going to be an expanding range or something along those lines, but that actually does not feel absolutely terrible to use. Let's try out the Mesa's shooting gallery thing, just to make sure. Oh my god, do I even have an augment? Do I even have like a spot free for her? Do I have a spot free that I can go ahead and toss this on? Let's see. I mean, let's do a little bit of that. Let's do a little bit of that action. So, let's give this a shot and see exactly how this goes. Let's just do a bunch of, like butchers. Do a lot of that real quick. And then, nope, that's Shadow Shield. Okay, there's Shooting Gallery. And, let's just run around. Okay, there's that. Am I don't feel like I'm generating a flash. I don't feel like... Am I generating? Yeah, okay, I'm generating a flash. It's just not as obvious. Okay, okay. There we go. Let's see if it works with, this. Does it work? Do you feel like it works with that? Yeah, it definitely did. Okay, it definitely worked with that. It definitely worked with that. So, this is actually an even... would I say it's a better way? Because legitimately in my head, I guess Shooting Gallery is good enough CC on its own to prevent enemies from hitting you while you're, you know, if you're stuck into your, what is it called? Into your shooting, what is it? The Peacemaker. I don't remember names. I'm old, you guys. So, that one's actually pretty solid. Am I going to use it? Probably not. But for those of people who do use it, it doesn't seem half bad at all. So that about does it for this episode. Let me know which augments you guys are excited about in the comments below. And also let me know if there are any builds that you specifically want to see in regards to these augments or just in general so that I can go ahead and cover them for you. Regardless, that about does it for me for now. And if you didn't know, peppercorns are actually berries. That's why they're counted in with fruits. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.